you asked for it, so here it is. Step one for this process is create something in Blockade Labs. Forest with God rays. It says it's not working so great right now, or there's a lot of people trying to do this. Forest path. So it might take a minute. I'm gonna go oil painting. Let's try that one. And anyway, I won't actually do all this right now, but it'll generate. Hit download. Come over to LeiaPix. Say upload, and I think we're in ideas. So then I bring in my forest that I built or that I got before. It gets all fancy and makes this cool looking thing, but then you can go back in and actually like adjust the depth map a little bit if you want. It does a pretty good job figuring it out, but you can adjust it if you want. And then you save that out in the share thing, and then download the depth map. Save depth map, blah, blah, blah. Then what I did is I brought that into Photoshop, and because of how we need the deformation to happen, I want it to be more like inverse square law, if you know what that is. So I was trying to calculate this in Blender, but it didn't work very well. So my hack was just to pull this down like this. So you basically get what looks like pretty much like an exponential curve off of this. Hit OK. Actually, I also, so I didn't lose color, I moved, or where is it? I set my image. Where the frick is image? Oh, image, there it is. I set this to 16-bit channel, so I wouldn't lose any color. Then when I do the curves, I shouldn't lose any data by compressing the whites. So now I have a pretty bright image. And all right, so, and then I saved that out, and then I went over to Blender and brought in just I just made I'll just do another version of this. Brought in a UV sphere. Right now there's no light in here. And then I went in here, went to mesh, went to normals, went to flip normals. And so I basically got an inverted sphere. I'm just gonna delete this for now. And got this guy. Then I split my screen over here, which is under view, and I forget exactly how to do it, but somehow you can split your screen. So then I brought this down to geometry nodes, and so the two I'm using is geometry nodes and shader. So made a new shader off of this, and I just basically opened up the sky map texture and applied it to both the base color and the emission layer, or not layer exactly, but channel. So without the emission layer, because it's not lit, it's super dark. But for shapes, we don't have emission layer, I don't think, so I wanted to do both. Hopefully that's not making my textures double up. Could be. Anyway, so then the trickiest part of this was trying to figure out how to do the displacement. Geometry nodes editor. So I looked that up, and here the way you do it is you have your group input mapped to group output, and what you want is you want to set the position of all the vertices. So this is like the main thing you put in between those two, and then you have scale as the thing you want to scale. You are bringing in the position of the current position, I believe, goes into here in the vector, and then it's scaling it from the center. And then, so I brought in the image texture, And this was the most confusing thing, which was when you first bring this in, over here, this UV map wasn't selected. There was just nothing. And if you notice, when I have this hooked in, it doesn't work. And sometimes, I don't know, it just works a little tiny bit. But if you set this to be the UV map of the object that you're selecting, then, haha, it works. And because, let's see, and then I was added color curves, RGB curves, as well as power. And I don't know why exactly this works, but through trial and error, figured out that there should be a power component, and I don't know why. I still haven't figured out what base and exponent here are. I understand how powers work in math, but I don't know. This seems strangely backwards to me. But if I don't have this in here, you'll see I get like a kind of a fisheye distortion. And if I don't have this curve doing anything, I get, everything is kind of just squished out. But what I want is the further away it goes, the more I want it to push out. So I want it to multiply. The further out you go, the more I want it to multiply the distance that it goes. So that's why I added a power, which should do quite a bit. And then this curve, I'm using to kind of fine-tune adjust this, and what I'm trying to find is a good exponent and curve where this is flat. So where like this path is flat as I look down this path. Get some weird stuff going on here, and I'm sure we'll have to figure that out. This is just a standard sphere, so I'm sure we could adjust the UVs of this sphere to make that not happen. But anyway, or at least for the bottom, that looks pretty good. So now when I go down here, I look around, it's pretty nice. And I can, just kind of walk down the road. So yeah, that's how I did it. And then I just exported this as GLB with all the materials and whatnot, and or GTLF, and then it came into shapes pretty okay. I think I need to downsample the texture. I think I brought in an 8K texture, which is a little heavy for mobile. But yeah, pretty nice.